So here we go. All right, so this first one we have here is gonna be, oh, let's get this. A little more centered. There we go. A little more. There we go. All right, so this first one is called The Reality of Women on Dating Apps. And this first pause screen at 0 seconds is a article about Bumble. So interesting is a word. I don't know if it'll apply to this, but here we go.
Adeline, could I have you read the title?
Yeah, dating app Bumble will no longer... You ready?
Yeah.
Dating app Bumble will no longer require women to make the first move.
All right, that's quite a change. And then we're going to have you read, starting from the New York.
10 years after creating a new model for dating apps with its...
Oh, wait. First, let's see. I recognize Q. I don't recognize anyone else. Okay, Q's here.
Women make the first move feature, Bumble's opening the door to men starting conversations on its platform. Bumble is rolling out a new feature called Opening Moves that will let female users set a prompt to which male suitors can respond to initiate a conversation. Oh, what? Wow. The feature reverses a long-standing requirement by the app that women send the first message to their matches, which Bumble said gave women more power.
So I'm pretty sure I've been on Bumble since this happened, just to check it out. And the opening moves thing is pretty much the same as sending a first message. It's a prompt. It's not like you're just cold approaching anymore. You actually have something to engage with. So I don't really understand what the problem is here.
Over their dating lives. The new feature is part of a larger relaunch of the app announced Tuesday by new CEO Jones, who took over the top job from founder earlier this year. The move comes as dating apps broadly are working to maintain their relevance as some singles have become burnt out on online dating and are seeking more in-person connections.
Let me see if there's anything else worth reading here.
Was that even worth reading? I'm sure Brian's going to have a problem with this, but I don't know what it is yet. We'll see.
They're just trying to stay relevant.
Taking as a great call to action.
That kind of takes away the whole novelty of what Bumble was.
Read from the new opening moves. Actually, can I have you read it?
Sure. The new opening moves feature is one way Jones says Bumble is evolving while staying true to its original mission of empowering women. Now, women users will have the option to continue initiating conversations with matches or to set an opening move. For example, a question about a potential match's dream dinner guest. That would indicate that they want their match to reach out first. For non-binary users or those seeking same-gender matches, either person can set and respond to an opening move.
And we're going to skip that part, scroll down just a bit.
I don't have my glasses on, sorry.
Can you read just these next ones?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, okay. The changes could be key to returning Bumble, which also owns dating apps Badoo and Fruits, to profitability after it posted a 1.9 million net loss last year. The company's share price has also plummeted 86% from its initial public offering in February 2021.
All right. Thank you for reading that, guys. We should have you read more. That was good. That was very good.
Thanks.
It's got a good reading
Love
voice.
your accent.
Thank you for tuning in.
So, have any of you ever been on Bumble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't setting an opening move like the same thing as initiating? I don't understand. Is that really that different?
And so Bumble, at least they're changing it now. It used to be that the woman had to send the message first, right? What do you guys think of this new change? Yay, nay?
I like it.
So it's basically just like every other single dating app now. Yeah.
I would, this is my opinion on Bumble and Tinder. I always said Bumble is better quality and Tinder is trash unless you're looking for purely a good time, then Tinder is where the party's at. Bumble, the men who are on there are going to be more conventionally attractive men because all of the other men are going to go to Tinder where they have higher chances and they're going to spend more time there, as opposed to the men who are going to, and you can play devil's advocate, maybe all the players are on Bumble, but I would say Bumble's better quality because the type of men there, if you are a looks-based person, then Bumble's going to have a lot more more attractive men than Tinder.
That's not true. Bumble is completely oversaturated because it got a reputation for making women make the first move. So it's totally oversaturated, just like Tinder. There's really no difference between the two of those. Hinge is a little better, but as always, guys, don't use dating apps. Go outside and talk to women, please.
My opinion.
I have a question then for the panel. Those of you who were on Bumble, what was your typical opening line?
Hi.
Were you on Bumble?
Me? I would just comment something on their profile. I would just try to find something to start a conversation.
Okay.
I never been on Bumble.
Never had Bumble. What about you?
I tried it and I would just be like, howdy partner, with a cowboy emoji.
Okay.
I think I would just be like, make sure I had a lot of emojis, because that, if I'm excited and want to meet somebody new, I like emojis. So.
Oof, red flag. No, it's just.
Why is emoji
like
a red flag?
Somebody, like, excessive emoji usage, it's kind of like, this person's crazy. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
No
I've
offense,
never
Laura.
had, yeah. I've never
Never
had.
had Bumble?
Never had Bumble.
Okay, and Q, have you been on Bumble?
I did the when it first came out, it had the 24-hour free thing. I did like a little social experiment to see how many women would initiate. For 24 hours, I got like 33, 34 initiations. And then I cut it off after that.
Is it a paid platform now, Bumble?
When I did it, it was.
Oh wow.
Well, you-
You had like a free trial or something like that in the beginning.
In my days, it was more. In my days, it was more. It was more so. It was just that you have 24 hours to send a message, and then they have 24 hours to respond to you, and then it went away. That match would essentially expire, and then you would just go on.
Yeah, it was something like that. It said 24 hours for something, so I only did it for 24 hours, and then
They
I
have to
deleted
respond
it.
to you. You match, but they have to respond.
No,
for
it should be
your
free. I don't know when you used it, but
It was like 3
They-
years
they-
ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been on dating apps in a while, but
They're all free and they all have paid versions. That's the moral of the story.
I was on it for a decent amount of time, have a good amount of experience with it. It's been a while though, so I don't know what they've changed since then. My experience and what I've heard from a lot of men is that while yes, women do have to message first, and it was this, sometimes an idea like it makes sense, but then when it's actually in practice, it really doesn't achieve its aimed goal or what it's actually trying to achieve. So what often happened on Bumble, and what I assume still does happen on Bumble, is even though women have to send the first message, typically, and you mentioned your first message was hi, they would do what women hate on all the other dating apps, which is if a guy just says hi, a lot of women don't like that. It's low effort. Every other person's doing it. You don't stand out. My experience was, I want to say 95% of women would say something like hi, hey, what's up, how's it going, hey with 3 Y's, hi with 7 I's. It was always the same. And the same criticisms they'd have of men on other dating platforms where men had to initiate, women just repeated those same things that they took quarrel with on Tinder, Hinge, whatever. So what would often happen is, yes, the woman has to send the first message, they send a hi or an emoji or a waving face, whatever, and then they immediately, after the token amount of initiative that they've taken, they immediately push back all the other burdens of trying to make something happen right back onto the guy. So it didn't really achieve anything. It just made this token thing. The woman just says hi, boom, conversational burden right back on the guy, asking for the first date right back on the guy, getting the number right back on the guy, setting up the date right back on the guy, you know, moving things forward from there right back on the guy. So it didn't really achieve anything, I think.
I think going
It
back,
wasn't empowering. It was just fake empowering.
I think the quality, like she was saying, is just a little bit better than Tinder, and then the mentality behind it, where people
Sure.
are just not going purely for hookups. It
Yeah,
did
it was
achieve
probably,
that.
I do think Bumble was a bit more, people were probably still on there doing casual sex and
Yeah.
stuff, but a little more or less hookup-y than Tinder.
I feel like women only do that if they don't really like you. Like if they like you, they're usually fine to take up part of the conversational burden, or at least be like an active part of it. Maybe they just didn't like you, Brian.
And I would make the same argument for Hinge. Hinge took it a step forward, and it was a bit more serious than both Bumble and Tinder. But it's just always interesting to me, like the entire premise of this was like women taking ownership, initiating, but it's bogus.
Yeah, because it goes against their nature.
Because okay, you say hi, and then you just immediately revert to what you like, how you would have conducted yourself if the guy messaged you first. You just immediately, most women on Bumble would say hi, and then just immediately take the back seat anyways, and wait for the man to drive the entire rest of the conversation, wait for him to ask for a phone number, wait for him to set up the date. So
That's because the premise of the app is stupid. Women shouldn't be making the first move pursuing the guy, especially on a dating app where both people are on there for a relationship or to start talking. If a guy knows that this girl is open because she's on this app, there's no excuse for him not to start the conversation.
Yeah, it's a shitty strategy. It's a shitty strategy that they built it on. They have a poor fundamental understanding of male and female differences when it comes to sexual pursuit. I mean, little lesson for y'all: the part of the brain that's responsible for sexual pursuit is 2.5 times larger.
But Brian's missing the entire point. The point wasn't for women to take over the conversational burden. It was so that they could quickly match like you do on any other dating app, and then decide who they wanted to have converse with them instead of just getting inundated with crazy messages from people, which I could be solved by them being, a little more discretionary with the swiping. But when you have like 3,000 likes or whatever it is most women have in their inbox, probably more, depends on the woman. That's just how it's going to go down. But Q's right. It's just, that's kind of like the natural order of things. It is what it is.
In men than women, and that's why we are the ones who typically initiate. And attraction is a lot more contextual for women as well, which is why even though they say hi, the burden of conversation falls back on men, because now men have to elicit an attractive response by saying something that engages the woman, letting the woman know something about him. He has to be able to basically hold a conversation. A lot of women say men can't hold conversations, so that's why the burden of conversation falls back on men. The woman says hi, the guy's like, oh, she's interested, and now, yep, it's right back on you, bro. You got to say something that makes me want to go out with you, or that makes me feel more interested in you, essentially,
yeah. But I'd actually be curious to ask the chat. Maybe Nick, can you show us the chat here? So for the viewers, those of you who had Bumble, would it more often than not be the case, or the majority of the time, would the women just go, hey, or some permutation thereof, and then would the...
All right, that's going to be it for this one. Yeah, of course, if the woman isn't super interested in you, she's just going to say hi. But I had plenty of women reach out to me with thoughtful, interesting opening lines when I used Bumble. If someone is interested in you, actually interested in you, not just kind of like, well, let's talk to them, see how it goes. If they're actually interested in you, they're going to make an effort to like show you that they're actually interested in you. So thank you for pointing out a bunch of obvious things about dating apps, Brian and Q. As always, thank you for your service.